Welcome back! In part 1 we mastered the basics of Express sessions, from the core setup and configuration to advanced methods like regenerate and destroy. But all of that was built on a temporary foundation, server memory. Stop the server, crash it, and you lose everything. Today, all changes. We are powering up our sessions with persistent Redis storage. This is how you build applications that are truly robust and reliable. Let's start by creating a brand new Redis account. Click Try Redis for free, fill it with your information, activate your account, and see you on the other side. After signing up and activating your account, you will arrive at this page where you can create your first Redis database. Click New Database, and here we have 4 options to choose from. I'm gonna go with the free version. It provides 30 megabytes of storage to start with, which is actually pretty sufficient for a side project to kick off. For session storage, 30 megabytes can handle thousands of active users, since session data is typically very small. The free tier gives you everything you need to get started: persistent storage, basic monitoring, and all the Redis features we need for our Express sessions. So click on free. Here in the settings section, you can give your database a new unique name. I'm gonna go with Express Sessions. Leave the database version 7.4. Next up, choose a cloud vendor. As you can see, all major providers are listed here. I'm just gonna go with AWS. Now choose your region. This is very important. Make sure to select the region closest to you if you are just developing locally, or if your app is already running on a VPS, choose the region closest to your server to minimize latency. Since I'm based in Europe, I'm gonna go with Frankfurt and click on Create Database. After a few seconds, your database will be ready. Our database is ready, so now we have to connect Redis to our Express application. To make things super easy, Redis provides ready-to-use code snippets that you can copy directly into your application. So here, click on Connect, click on Redis Client, choose your client. I'm gonna go with Node.js, obviously. Scroll down and hit Copy, and then go to our Codebase. Okay, let's just do a quick recap of what we set up in the first part of this Express session series. So basically, I set up a new Express instance. I initialized the Express session and determined all the essential options for the session. I set the secret key, I gave a unique name, and of course I set up the cookie itself with all the necessary settings. Now if you want to learn more about this initial setup, what each of those session and cookie options actually mean, just check out my previous video. I go into all the details there. Alright, so here in our code we have a mock users database. The session endpoint returns an HTML template with our current session information. The login endpoint obviously performs a simple login action, and you can see that I also utilize the session's regenerate method. The dashboard endpoint is our protected endpoint, which only logged in users can reach. And here we have the 2 logout endpoints, the bad way and the correct way. In the correct way, you can see I also utilized the session's destroy method. If you want to learn more about this destroy and regenerate method, it's also in the previous video. I really detailed everything there. Now, in order to make this simple app look more professional, I'm gonna separate the Redis configuration from the main index.js. So let's just create a new folder here called config. And inside config, create a new file, redis.js. And here just paste the configuration from the Redis Cloud. Okay, let's clean up this code a little bit. In my previous video, I made it very clear that sensitive information, like here Redis username and password, should be always stored in a .env file. So let's go to .env now. And here you can see I've prepared 3 variables for username, password, and even host. So go back to Redis.js and just copy and paste our variables. Here, password, this is default, and lastly, the host. Okay, go back to Redis.js, and first of all import the .env file so we can use our environment variables here as well. .env/config semicolon, and here do process.env.redis username, process.env.redis password, and finally the host, process.env.redis host. So after this, I'm gonna delete these 4 lines here because we don't need those. And we're gonna keep this line, which is basically an event listener for errors. In case something goes wrong, it will log in the console. And besides this event listener, I'm gonna need another snippet that will confirm that our Redis is connected and we can use it. So client.connect then, and in case it's connected successfully, let's just console log a simple message, Redis Cloud connected. Now, since we're gonna use this client in our index.js, I have to write export here. And for better naming, I'm gonna rename our client to Redis client. Just make sure to change the name here, because otherwise the Redis client won't work. Redis client and Redis client. After this, we're gonna go to index.js and finally set up the persistent Redis session storage. But before we dive into the code, I'm gonna install 2 necessary npm packages. One is Redis, so npm I Redis, and the other one is connect Redis. Connect-Redis. After this, I'm gonna import our Redis client here. Import Redis client, config Redis, and make sure to add JS here at the end because otherwise it won't work. And also I'm gonna import Redis store from connect Redis. And the only thing left here is to go to our session object and create a new key here called store, which we're gonna populate with new Redis store. And here, open a curly brace, we're gonna give our client, our Redis client, to use. And the comma. And basically, that's it. So it wasn't really a hard thing to set up, right? Before we dive into the practical demonstration of our persistent Redis storage, I want to show you an incredible tool called Redis Insight. This is a really powerful graphical interface for managing your Redis databases. So let's go back and switch to our Redis Cloud account. And here on the right side, you can see this section called View and Manage Data with Redis Insight. Click on Launch, and this will open up a pop-up window where you can download Redis Insight. So click on Download Now, install it, and then we'll continue from there. After installation, launch Redis Insight, and you will see this window pop up. Let's go back to the cloud account again, and now hit Launch again, and allow the app to open Redis Insight. And as you can see in the corner, database has been added. If I go here and click on databases, I can see my database listed here, Express sessions. If I click on it, it's empty. So now let's go back to our application and try the practical demonstration. So here in the code base, let's clear up the terminal and start the server, npm run dev. And let's open the browser and Redis Insight next to each other to see what really happens. Now, if I visit the session endpoint, you can see our app is working correctly and the new session has been generated. To prove that the session has been stored, I refresh the database on the right side, and you can see the new session right here. Notice that the session ID in the browser matches the key stored in our Redis database. If you click on this, you can see all the session information, the cookie object information here as the same as in the browser. Alright, let's take this a step further and log into the application. Because we are using the regenerate method during the login process, here is what we should expect to see. After a successful login, the browser will initiate a completely new session with a new session ID, and this new session will be stored in the database, while the old one is securely destroyed. So let's log in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Log in. As you can see, a new session ID is generated, so a new session is initiated, and the user object is also populated with the email. And if I refresh this, you can see key with this name does not exist. So I go back, refresh it, and I can see the newly generated session pop up. So you can see the same session ID here as well as in the browser. So if I click on this now, you can see all the cookie information here, and you can see also the user object appear and populated with the email. Let's go to the dashboard to see if our protected endpoint works as well. Okay, it works fine, so go back to session info. Now, let's test the true power of persistent storage. Let's see what happens when I stop the server and restart it. Going back to VS Code, I stop the server, clear up the terminal, and refresh the session endpoint. As expected, the session endpoint is unreachable, but watch this. If I refresh the Redis database, the session data is still right there, persisted safely. Our storage is working. Now let's go back and restart the server and visit the endpoint again and look what will happen. I go refresh the endpoint again, and you can see the same session ID appears just as it was before the restart. Awesome! Now let's talk about two key session options that become crucial with persistent storage: resave and saveUninitialized. Let's go back to the codebase, and here below the cookie object I'm gonna write in a new line resave, which will take a boolean value. By default it's true, but setting it false is the way to go. So setting resave false is all about efficiency. It means the session information only gets saved back to the database when something actually changes. Think of it like this: if you're just browsing through a website, reading pages but not logging in or adding anything to your cart, there is no need to keep saving the same information over and over again. It's like repeatedly writing your name on a blank piece of paper without adding anything new. By setting this to false, we are essentially telling our app only save the session when there is something new to save. This keeps everything running smoothly and avoids a lot of unnecessary work behind the scenes. So let's go and write false. Now let's talk about its partner, saveUninitialized. It will also take a boolean value. This setting deals with the new empty sessions. An uninitialized session is one that was created but has no data in it. Setting this to false is the best practice. It means that if a user just visits your homepage and leaves without logging in or doing anything, we don't clutter up the database with useless empty sessions. This not only saves space, but it's also better for your users' privacy. So together, these two settings help make your application more efficient, clean, and secure. So let's go and write false here as well. Let's check how this works in the browser. If I go to the session endpoint now, you can see a new session is created, but if I refresh the database, you can see nothing is saved. So the uninitialized session is not saved, which we set to false, so it's working. And there you have it. We walked through how to set up a persistent Redis storage in Redis Cloud, ensuring your sessions survive server restarts or crashes. We also unlocked the power of two advanced session options, resave and saveUninitialized, to make your app more efficient, clean, and secure. With this knowledge, you can now build applications with sessions that you can truly rely on. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.